What do you think's happening in the 49ers locker room right now, Gerald McCoy, with the decision to bring back Jimmy Garoppolo and put him into the same quarterback room as Trey Lance? What do you think, Gerald?
Well, I think if you're a professional, it's going to all depend on – really what's going on in the locker room is going to depend on the leadership. Is the leadership going – if they have a problem with it, are they going to make it a problem? Are they going, well, we don't know if Trey is the guy, or make it a thing like, well, we've been wanting Trey to be the guy, so we glad Jimmy G is – it depends on the leadership of the locker room. As long as the leadership of the locker room is good, it won't be a problem because they're going to understand, hey, a decision was made. Either one of them is a great decision for us. But now, if Trey doesn't go as planned or something happens, we already know what Jimmy can be. So, I mean, you keep a familiar face around, somebody you know has helped you win, has helped you get as far as the Super Bowl in recent years. So it's just all going to depend on the leadership. But I feel like they got a great group of guys, and I think everything's going to work out for them. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we had the general manager, John Lynch, on yesterday, Gerald. You know him. And and he said that part of the process of making this happen involved bringing in a 15-member leadership council that they have and bounce that idea off them and let them know this is what they were going to do and that they were all on board. That said, what does a leadership council do, or leaders in the locker room do, if, let's just say, they start 1-3 and they hear somebody sitting there after practice grousing, like, why are we not going with Jimmy G? What happens there, Gerald?
Well, I've been a part of those. I've been a part of those leadership councils, and really all you can do is keep the noise down and tell people, don't be a part of the problem. Hey, if we start at 1-3, then it's obviously not one person. It's all of us. This is a team game. So if you got a complaint, let's look in the mirror first. That's really where you start. You tell whoever's complaining, hey, let's check ourselves first. I'm sure you didn't play as great as you. If we start at 1-3, I'm sure there's a majority of us not playing as great as we should. A team that starts 1-3 is usually not just one person. So you just got to keep the noise down when you have a leadership council. Like, pull them to the side, like, hey, man, listen, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's easily influenceable. So if you got a problem, man, pull one of us leaders to the side and voice your opinion. We could take it back to the group and we could discuss it that way. But you just sitting here complaining in front of everybody, that's no good for none of us.
Well, you know Sapp, too, Gerald, from back in the day. Sapp always told me, don't mess with my family, my kicker, or my quarterback. That's what he said.
Right.
All the time. Yeah. He would always go up to anybody in the locker room that heard mess with his family, his kicker, his quarterback. So you've done that? You've gone up to somebody as a member of a leadership council and pulled them aside and say, knock it off? That's happened in your career?
Absolutely. But it's just the way you go about it. That's the great thing about when you have great teams. That's why I say being a great teammate is not always just being a great player on the field. I have a lot of teammates that I consider great teammates that were guys that may not have been the most dominant on the field, but great locker room guys that brought energy, guys that you never had to worry about whether they was going to be on time to work. When they come to practice, they do things the right way. On game day, a few reps they get, they're going to do their part. But they're just great teammates. They bring great energy, always positive. You just got to know who you're talking to and how to approach it. So being a great teammate, being a great leader, that's what it's about. You got to know who you're going to talk to, how to approach them, and how to address them. Some people you got to be firm with. Some people you like, hey, he's a vet. So he pulls aside like, hey, bro, man, you know how this goes. Like, hey, just stay the course. Let's keep playing. Let's get these guys together and let's see what happens. So you got to just know who you addressing and how to address it. So
in general, you believe this is a workable arrangement?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I believe it can happen. Like, I feel like Jimmy G's been in this situation before. I know he's been the starter over the past few years, and he could be thinking, man, I took this team to the NFC Championship and a Super Bowl in 3 years. So, like, you brought this guy in. But at the same token, when a person gets drafted that high and they trade dang near their future for this person, you got to know the writing's on the wall. So you just got to make the best decision for your future. And right now, he feels like this is the best decision for his future, And, I mean, you just got to know this is part of the business. When you get a guy drafted that high at your position, you just got to know what's coming in the next few years.